pesky mosquitoes.
The use of oil, cooking oil, a little tip of cooking oil poured on the surface of the water suffocates the larvae and prevents them hatching out. So persons can do that.
The expansion of the manufacturing sector, the recently launched Spanish Town Free Zone, and the impending Caymanas Economic Zone all are evidence that Jamaica is on its way to achieving a logistics-centered economy. Industry Minister Anthony Hilton highlights these issues.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we talk about jobs, employment opportunities, growth in the economy, the kinds of things that you want to hear about. We have with us the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Honourable Anthony Hilton. He'll be supplying some answers to us. We thank you so much for your company. Minister, good to have you on Issues and Answers. The PIOJ has released statistics which shows that the manufacturing sector has been coming out of its doldrums and has been showing some positive performance. We have also heard good news coming out of the Spanish Town Free Zone. Set this in context for us.
Well, thank you. I think the PIOJ's quarterly report has done a good job in just capturing what we in the ministry have seen for some time, which is the strengthening of and the underpinnings of the reform efforts, which I think is just now begun to show fruits palpably. The growth in manufacturing, the manufacturing sector is a tangible expression of that, because the manufacturing sector has been in decline for quite some time. Now, that the manufacturing sector has begun to grow is a combination of very specific policy measures. Firstly, in the overall improving the doing business environment that has been improving. But specifically, I should point to the linkages council that has been established between the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and the Ministry of Agriculture. And the manufacturing sector has been an integral part of that. And I dare say it has been benefiting from that specific effort. But it is really the outcome of a specific set of measures. The manufacturing sector also links to the agro-processing sector, and the developments that are taking place in some of the subsectors of the manufacturing sector, particularly in the drinks sector, where you have people like Lasco and Grace and others have been making significant strides in those sectors. But I also want to commend the private sector for the retooling efforts that they've been making, and that as a consequence of some of the incentives that have been given recently by the government with respect to inputs into production. All of that has formed as part of the reform effort, has incentivized the sector to retool, because all materials that are part of input into production are now duty free. So these are some of the specific measures, reform measures, that is now paying dividends to the economy in general, but to the manufacturing sector in particular.
How have you been doing, Minister, in terms of the doing business indices, business facilitation?
It has been very strong, because a major part of that is to look at the ease of doing business and also the competitiveness indices. And on both indices, it demonstrates that the reform measures have been in place. Persons have been saying for some time that we're seeing these indices and the improvement in these indices, but not feeling the effects of it.
Yes.
But I've always said that this precedes the impact, because you have to make the reforms. These reforms have to be measured before you can, and then there's a lag time between the reforms themselves and the actual impact of those reforms. And I think what the last quarter reports indicate is that there are now a convergence of the reform measures and the actual impact on the ground, and the PIOJ measurement in terms of the growth rates indicates the fact that those reforms and the actual impact are now caught up and are now moving in tandem.
The Spanish Town Free Zone, Minister, how big a project is this? How significant is it?
Very significant, I think, because what it demonstrates, again, is that the whole concept of the Logistic Hub initiative has garnered the interest of global and local investor. It continued to speak to the interest, beginning with local investor. We had pointed out that Kingston Wharf Limited, having entered in that space, making significant investment in that space, and has been doing quite well, as is indicated by their balance sheets and the gains that they have been making. That to see the foreign investor, and here the significance of Spanish Town is that you're not talking about just one country. It's really a mini United Nation that have come together to invest in the Spanish Town free zone.
Which are the countries?
The countries I can easily recall are people from Dubai, persons from India, persons from the Dominican Republic, persons from the United States, and China, and others. A diverse group of investors. In fact, at the press conference, I recall some 19 investors who were here to participate in the launch event. And so that indicates a widespread interest.
And upwards of 10,000 jobs will be provided through this project.
And a number of them high quality jobs. As you will recall, the investors at the time announced 300 engineers and scholarships that have already been secured for 300 engineers. More will be needed, but that is their contribution to the workforce that will be needed. And so you're looking at over 2,500 professional and high quality, high level jobs, and other jobs ancillary and supportive of the key activities in the zone. And what I think interests me most is a range of activities as well that will be taking place in the zone. It's not only car assembly and truck assembly, a vehicle assembly, which will be quite astounding because Jamaica, although will not be manufacturing or participating in the full value chain, we have been saying for some time now that the logistics hub offer Jamaica an opportunity to participate at different level of the value chain. And this demonstrates this capability, this interest. But the other activities...
I want to take the break at this point, Minister. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Honorable Anthony Hilton, speaking to us about jobs and about the growth in industry. He has more to tell us when we come back from our break.
Do you want to know more about the Jamaica Logistics Hub initiative? What of the proposed transshipment port at Goat Islands? Or the jobs to be provided when the hub is fully implemented? Then sign up for the Logistics 101 training course. This free course is available when groups or organizations make a request.
The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce website, the Logistics Hub Task Force, and you can register. As long as you have a cohort, we'll take it to you.
Increase your awareness about logistics. Call 968-7116.
We're talking investment and jobs. The Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Honorable Anthony Hilton, is here with us. Minister, you were finishing off the point on the freeze.
Yeah, I was just making the point that it is the diversity of interest in the zone that I think is also of immense interest to us. And so different clusters of activities will be taking place in the zone. And that portends, what that signal is that our identification of Caymanas as the next special economic zone, I think is going very well. The investor interest there is also significant. And so we look forward to a continuation of the trend where the free zones, which are really special investment zones, will be driving investment and job creation for some time.
Are we providing enough factory space, Minister, for investors to come in? Because as you know, foreign investors want to know that the space is there. When they want to invest now. They don't want to have to wait for a year for you to provide that space. How is government moving with that?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the discussions taking place in government, because on one hand, government is constrained fiscally.
Of course.
So the previous dispensation where you have factory-ready space
Yes.
in abundance. Government is saying that, listen,
Yes.
we need now to get the private sector into the space.
Have you been doing that?
Yes, I think there's been a degree of success. We have, through a series of incentives that we have given the private sector interests are stepping forward. We see that in the BPO space in particular, where persons like Mr. Carl Jarrett in Montego Bay, we have persons like Mr. Glenn Christian
Yes.
as well, who are
Yes.
stepping
Yep.
up
Yes.
and providing and getting into the sector, taking a measure of risk, although government has responded to meet them halfway or a part of the way in incentivizing that. But we're seeing more private sector interest in the space. We're about to launch the Nagazed project, which is an expansion of the existing
How big is that
BPO
project?
process.
Yes.
That is a multi-phase project that will begin with about 150,000 square feet of space
Yes.
very shortly in Nagazed, where we have a joint venture between the Factories Corporation and a private interest here in Jamaica, where the private interest will be taking on the development and operation of the BPO space. And that is being encouraged. That will expand on the existing situation, and there are other phases to go. From all indication, the other 3 phases I think may happen very quickly with the launch of the first phase sometime in this month. Later this month.
Are you optimistic, Minister, about a significant expansion in jobs next year? Or is that just a pipe dream?
No, I am. And then
You are.
there's objective, more than ample basis for that, because the reform measures are now instilling a level of confidence in our local private sector. And a range of activity and a range of recent developments indicates why that is so. We have Heineken, for example, invested in Red Stripe to multiple of its market, the market value. We have Mussons Limited recently invested in Nestle, buying out Nestle's, and that follows the same ownership structure, for example, for Separate. So a manufacturing sector. So we see again more interest in the manufacturing sector, which can only spell positive indication for jobs. And so we have every reason, both from the international investor community and local investor community, to believe that the jobs are coming, that investments are being made as a prelude to job creation.
And the idea of a logistics-centered economy is, again, not just a wild fantasy.
No, it is not, because what it recognizes is a role for logistics as a key service area, linked to manufacturing, linked to a number of activities that provides a platform for the expansion and investment in a number of areas. Some of them.
Minister, not to break you, but how do you respond to those who say that things are not moving fast enough? You've been talking about logistics hub, logistics basis for the economy. Not much is happening. How do you respond?
First of all, I think the facts belie that impression. I spoke earlier on about Kingston Wharf and what they've been doing, Spanish Town and what that represents. But I think it is fair to say that, because it's a new area of industrial development, government had to lead in the articulation of a vision for that and to invite private sector involvement. Because, as I said, it is not the government that is building out these investments. It really is the private sector that we're inviting. The private sector moves very cautiously because there are a number of steps, there are a number of things that they will have to do. What continued to inspire me and to give me great confidence is the level of interest from a diversity of sources, both local and foreign, in the space and about logistics and the logistics hub. So from where we sit, yes, it is taking some time, but I think one have to appreciate that we are building out a new sector, diversifying the economy, and articulating something that has never really been done before. So we're really looking at and relying not just on old sectors to drive the economic growth, but on sunrise sectors, new sectors that will diversify the economy. And I believe that the diversification of the Jamaican economy has never happened on the scale and at the pace at which it is doing now. And so I'll say to persons, yes, there's a sense that it's not fast enough to meet their needs. But when you look at the scale of the operation, what is involved, and the fact that these are new development, you have to give our local private sector an opportunity to even understand clearly what are business opportunity for them. And they're now finding it, because a number of them are investing in warehouse spaces. Yeah. And warehouses is part of logistics and part of distribution. But there are many other opportunities in the logistics, in the supply and value chain that I think as they begin to understand exactly what it is that we're articulating, you see more and more investment coming to the fore. What I'm heartened by is that in the sectors, in those other 3 existing hubs in the world, from where they sit, they are seeing the opportunities in Jamaica and are coming and investing in Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Minister. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Honorable Anthony Hilton, speaking to us about the critical areas of jobs, investment, industrial development. We thank you for your company. Next week we'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
Businessmen and women, members of the MSMEs, no longer do you have to visit several government agencies to register a company or business name. Visit the COJ. They are willing and prepared to assist you in filling out the new business registration form, more commonly known as the super form.
The overwhelming response from the majority of our customers is, why did this take so long to happen? There are persons who actually waited until January 2nd to come here to do their business because they wanted to avoid going to multiple government departments.
Click on ocrjamaica.com for more details.
That's the old way of doing things. Introducing Government of Jamaica Electronic Procurement, a speedy, transparent and accessible online method used to bid for government contracts. Contact the Ministry of Finance and Planning for more information.
Jamaica is now among the most sought-after destinations for major clients of business process outsourcing (BPO) services, with the local sector expecting a major boost in job availability by year-end. There are BPO offices in St. Andrew, Montego Bay and other areas of the country. Watch this for a proper understanding of the operations of the BPO sector.
When the government speaks of job creation, an industry that should readily come to mind is business process outsourcing (BPO). This thriving sector is experiencing double-digit growth and, according to JAMPRO, could create 15,000 new jobs within the next 5 years. So government has been using BPO as a conduit for achieving the strategic priority of job creation and economic growth with positive results. Business process outsourcing, or BPO, involves engaging a third-party service provider to do specific business functions. This means companies overseas can hire local entities to handle certain aspects of their business, such as customer service call centers. Other functions include general office operations like accounting and human resource management. Jamaica has a competitive edge in this sector due to its geographic location, the ability of nationals to speak English, and the educational qualifications of citizens. Within the past few years, government has been capitalizing on this to formalize the sector. The main point of support comes from the Ministries of Technology, Industry and Education, collaborating with the private sector representative group, the Business Process Industry Association of Jamaica, BPIAJ. Members of the BPO industry benefit from several incentives under the free zone regime, including income tax relief on profit earnings and duty-free importation of machinery and tools used in their operations, such as computers. There is also direct monetary support, such as the Development Bank of Jamaica's commitment of $23 million in loan to the ICT and BPO sectors this fiscal year. All these interventions have supported the current environment of about 40 BPO companies operating in Jamaica. These entities account for approximately 14,000 jobs, but government's goal is to add hundreds more as part of the strategic priority for economic growth. In October 2014, a $195,000 contract was signed to roll out new business process outsourcing BPO facilities in Montego Bay. A month prior to that, $6 million was invested in the construction of a BPO facility in Portmore, St. Catherine. Both of these private sector-driven developments represent the latest result of government supportive policies to encourage an expanded BPO sector in Jamaica.
The commitment is there from the government in all the areas that needs to be addressed as we move forward to ensure that the sector not only remain alive but thrive and is sustainable going forward.
As evidenced by the Mobay and Portmore developments, government is well on its way to achieving its BPO goals. The contract between the BPIAJ and Columbus Business Solutions means the creation of an incubator for business operators who wish to operate from the Montego Bay Free Zone. The incubator, which is slated to become fully operational by December 2014, is designed to fast-track the entry of new BPO companies, providing hundreds of jobs. As for the 40,000 square foot BPO facility in Portmore, it's expected to provide thousands of jobs during the construction phase, while another 550 persons are estimated to be employed during the startup phase.
Space has been our major failing, and the space is not going to be provided by the government. My view is that you can create 3 million square feet of office space tomorrow, and they will be filled. But it requires from entrepreneurs that element of risk.
Jamaica and the business process outsourcing sector, a partnership that's poised to make the island the outsourcing hub of the Caribbean, a partnership that supports government's strategic priority for job creation and economic growth.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
November is being observed as Local Government Month. It's being done under the theme, Empowering Communities Through Improved Governance. Local government and governance, an aspect of our society that we sometimes overlook. However, it is directly linked to our daily affairs. Local governance takes care of matters such as garbage collection, maintenance of street lights, and the management of community roads. Jamaicans, familiarize yourselves with local governance procedures. When you're informed on the runnings of local government, including the roles and responsibilities of councillors and local government authorities, you will better understand the extent of the services to which you're entitled. A few weeks ago, 3 strategic laws, which are the fundamental planks to undergird local government reform, were passed in the House of Representatives. The Local Governance Bill, Local Government Unified Service and Employment Bill, and the Local Government Financing and Financial Management Bill. They are intended to create the framework within which local authorities will operate with greater scope and autonomy. This coming week, visit your parish council office and ask pertinent questions regarding the running of your area. Once you know, the better your life will be.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you're saying to my sister. she could be the next Prime Minister.
Children in Jamaica constitute anyone who is under the age of 18 years. And so once you have a child who is under your care and supervision, we encourage you at the Office of the Children's Advocate to always know where your children are. It doesn't mean that you have to be there with them, but you certainly know who they're with, where they're going, and the purpose for being there. This is a key component in helping to establish some rules in terms of some ground rules and helping to guide your children towards responsible and sensible choices, and also assisting you if something were to go wrong to know what is the first point of contact to assist your child. While you're not to look at everybody as a potential suspect, that you need to be very wary of adults, whether they're in positions of authority or not, that seek to want to have a very close relationship with your child. Somebody who wants to invite your child on an outing and it's just that adult and your child alone. Somebody who wants to take your child to a very special event to reward the child, perhaps for some performance that the child would have done in an extracurricular activity or for academic excellence. We encourage you to look at these situations very carefully and to determine whether or not it's an appropriate meeting or outing that this person is propositioning for your child. If you're enrolling your child in a daycare, ensure that you know something about the track record of that daycare. Ensure that the daycare has what we call an open door policy, which allows you to go in, see what's happening, observe how the workers there interact with the children, and know some of the ground rules that guide these interactions. If they're going on outings, whether it be school trips or otherwise, ensure that at some point, even if you can't go to all, you do attend some of them, so you get yourself integrated into the system and the culture of the school. For these tips, and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister, cause she could be the next Prime Minister.
As we await the Christmas festivities, I leave this with you. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. Words of writer William Arthur Ward. Food for thought, right? For more on the government's Logistics Hub initiative, click on our webpage, jis.gov.jm. We're also on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, so log on and stay in the know. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Have a happy Sunday.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.